You made it. Come on in.
2001 was a huge year for multiple reasons, but mostly for being the best year for video games. And since I talked about the first Metal Gear Solid, I may as well talk about the one released that year. So, without further ado, it's time to talk about Metal Gear Solid 2! Sons of Liberty. With the success of Metal Gear Solid, Konami sent Kojima back to the drawing board for a sequel. With this, Kojima started drafting up plots for the game and decided the game would take place in New York City. At this time, Kojima decided to call the sequel Metal Gear Solid 3, to throw off consumers and as a reference to the 3 tallest skyscrapers in New York, which didn't last long. In May of 2000, Kojima showed off his newest project at E3 of that year. Someone also changed the name from Metal Gear Solid 3 to Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. In the E3 presentation, it was shown that Snake was the main character of the game, which is a tad misleading. Konami realized that not that many women were buying their games, so they wanted more of a hot protagonist for the new Metal Gear Solid. And last but not least, Kojima had the craziest idea ever, to implement a system in the game so whenever you would die, you would have to rebuy the game. I thank the Lord every day for not letting Kojima's idea reach store shelves. Finally, November 13th of 2001 hits, and Metal Gear Solid 2 flies off the shelves to a Solid Snake-loving audience.
Mr. Kojima, I want to thank you very much for all the years of Metal Gear, and I'm looking forward to Metal Gear Solid 2. Good job.
Metal Gear Solid 2, I thought was awesome.
Awesome thing I've ever seen. That has to be the most awesome thing I've ever seen. Absolutely beautiful game. I was slightly skeptical about PlayStation 2, and that absolutely one of the best I've seen here. And that's amazing. Amazing. It's awesome. Rules, man. They outdone themselves this time.
But how is the game?
The game is fun.
The game starts with a dope intro and some sick-ass art, very similar to the first game. Booting up the game, Solid Snake shows off his swag, and you talk to Otacon, who is still reigning supreme in the Best Character Awards.
Too true. Hey, Snake, cigarettes? What's wrong with you?
Then, the tutorial starts. The same mechanics from the first game are carried over perfectly. In addition to the old mechanics, they introduce a first-person shooter mode and a climbing and hanging mechanic. For its age, the game is extremely detailed. For example, the ice cubes melt in real time and the glass bottles shatter individually. Not to mention you can take pictures of cool shiz you see. Plus, Snake jakes it in a locker with alluring posters.
What do you think you're doing, Snake? You don't have enough to keep you busy?
By the end of the level with Snake, you have a somewhat crisp understanding of how the game works, and also Otacon still reigns supreme.
So, any codec moments from you, Snake? Okay, first up.
Who could it be? Whose toes are those? Who's that great ape right there? Sugriva. Is it dinner time? Is it dinner time?
This is hilarious! This rules. But we can't use it. Get the shots we need.
Suddenly, Ocelot shows up.
They say it's the mark of a good officer. End of a liar. Americans are too in love with the sound of their own voice to speak the truth.
Where he reveals that he took Liquid Snake's arm, making him Liquid Ocelot. Confirming that dope plus dope equals dope? Oh yeah, and there's apparently some organization in all this called the Patriots or...
The Lale Lule Lo.
Anyways, the ship sinks and Otacon yells for Snake. Cut to black. I'm hooked, and I cannot wait for what the game has to offer next. So now you're this, according to Konami, hot, curvy stud who is stealthing around who is stealthing around. God. Anyways, Raiden stealths around this massive plant with the same controls as Solid Snake, except Raiden can do cartwheels. Similar to Snake, Raiden also has really cool intricate details such as slipping on bird shit and Kojima wanted players to feel like Raiden is worse than Solid Snake, and he does this very obviously throughout the game, even with how Raiden is playing through a level that doesn't change scenery for hours. And it's even better when Raiden's antagonists are a knockoff of Fox Sound called Dead Cell, and how the dialogue is terrible throughout the entire section.
There's a terminal in front of the elevator, a node.
Did you say nerd?
Not nerd, node.
This is a C4 bomb.
The only way people will ever remember me. How dare you! I'm an artist! What do I need a cell phone for? Colonel? I've got Emma Emmerich here. We've managed to avoid drowning.
Good job.
Not to mention the game has Raiden going around spraying Febreze on bombs for his debut level. On a more positive note, the boss fights are awesome. This is where I have to give credit to the music written by Harry Gregson Williams, plus it's the only point in this part of the game where Raiden feels badass. It sucks too because Raiden's section has some finger snappers. And some really good dialogue with his wife Rose.
Beside me.
What are you talking about?
After we've been together in my room, you stay awake all night, or you head for the door.
Is this really the time to bring this up?
Why, Jack? Why?
Listen, Rose, I'm right in the middle of a mission and
Why? Why can't you relax when you're with me?
Not only that, but Raiden's antagonist, Solid as Snake, is so badass.
Snake?
Right, take cover.
So it pains me that after Raiden dodges 15,000 missiles from a jet, he then gets pissed on and fondled by the president. Just let this man be cool for once. Then the president gets shot by Ocelot, and for a second I can smell the game getting dope.
Thanks. An underwater mission. Well, this is a first.
You're lying. Not only does Raiden now have to escort Otacon's sister through the plant, but she is slower than molasses, and you have to swim with her through water. For fun, I would like for people to think of one fun water level, or for extra credit, a fun escort level. Now, I would like to ask, why would you combine the two? I need whatever Kojima was on when he made that level. Oh, and yeah, she dies. After 1 hour straight of torturous escorting, you also find out that first place character, Otacon, yeah, he had sex with his stepmom, just to rub more dirt in the wound.
I had a relationship with your mother. She seduced me. And it went on.
Everyone, congratulate Solid Snake on being #1 character. I wish Raiden could be up there, but he's canonically a gamer.
I faced a similar situation in advanced mode level 4 VR training with the PSG-1. VR.
Otacon and Snake share a dope-ass bro handshake. And then Otacon cries his eyes out because, you know, his sister just died. Then, Snake and unimportant cyborg ninja Olga knock you out, take you into Arsenal Gear for the dope part of the game.
Jack, are you reading me? Do you want to save your mission data up to this point?
Raiden gets locked up and, whoa. Alright. Anyways, the game reveals that
Raiden, turn the game console off right now.
What did you say?
The mission is a failure. Cut the power right now.
What's wrong with you?
Don't worry, it's a game. It's a game just like usual.
You'll ruin your eyes playing so close to the TV.
yeah, and anyways, the game reveals that
Even my patience has its limits. I just can't leave this thing up to you any longer. I'll do the fighting. You can just go home.
okay. And
Variety level 13. Rescue Meryl, the return of Ginola.
Alright, let's knock it off. The game reveals that Raiden's codec called PALs are AI, and they have been controlled by the Patriots. This game is the creepiest here because the Colonel keeps calling you and saying different statements that don't correlate to each other.
I'm carrying. I'm pregnant, Jack.
Rose, what's going on?
Then you meet Snake.
Amazing how you walk around like that.
A little gay, man. Snake gives Raiden a katana, and then it's straight action for the next 20 minutes. Finally, throughout all this high-octane action, the game fucks with you. With fake-out deaths. And Snake is constantly spitting dope-ass quotes.
Find something to believe in, and find it for yourself. And when you do, pass it on to the future.
Believe in what?
That's your problem.
Then, Raiden fights 25 Metal Gear Rays. Awesome. Then Solidus comes in and is as badass as ever. Ocelot reveals that he double-crossed Solidus because he is Liquid Ocelot, and Snake dives into the ocean after him. After that, Raiden and Solidus spawn in New York. There would have been a scene that showed Arsenal gear crashing into New York, but this game was released after certain events in 2001.
After 9/11!
Then, Kojima predicts the future. Okay, let me go into more detail on that. The AI calls Raiden again and explains how they won because they control what people see on the internet and how they use weaponized memes to target individuals through the internet.
But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right. You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Raiden was pretty much the victim of a misinformation campaign throughout the entire game. Which is pretty ironic considering that Kojima was accused of assassinating his own prime minister this year. Now, Raiden has to kill Solidus, not because he wants to, but because the Patriots can kill Olga's daughter and Rose if he doesn't. Plus, the game laughs at you if you die here. Even Solidus' death is badass. After Solidus' death, Snake delivers some great life advice and Rose tells Raiden that she's pregnant. And credits. Is Rose real? Is she a spy sent by the Patriots? Is she an AI? We will never know. This game's a good sequel. Gameplay and character-wise, I think it drops the ball, but for its music and story, I think they were perfectly done. Going for how people pass on genes in the first game to how people pass on memes and memories in the second is genius.
What am I going to leave behind when I'm through?
We can tell other people about having faith. What we had faith in. What we found important enough to fight for. It's not whether you were right or wrong, but how much faith you were willing to have. That decides the future. Listen, don't obsess over words so much. Find the meaning behind the words, then decide. You can find your own name and your own future.
People aren't only on this planet to just pass on their DNA and die. They pass on what they know, their memories, let the next generation do what they can with that knowledge. It's a beautiful message to end on.
Life isn't just about passing on your genes. We can leave behind much more than just DNA. Through speech, music, literature, and movies, what we've seen, heard, felt, anger, joy, and sorrow. These are the things I will pass on. That's what I live for. We need to pass the torch and let our children read our messy and sad history by its light. We have all the magic of the digital age to do that with. The human race will probably come to an end sometime, and new species may rule over this planet. Earth may not be forever, but we still have the responsibility to leave what traces of life we can. Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same thing.
Yeah, this game is pretty sick, but I know something sicker. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'ma spread misinformation on the internet. Surely there will be no repercussions.